Hello, Nicole Watt, Sweet Southern. Let me reply back. Welcome to Ted Investigates. Thanks for being with me this Friday evening. Let me just say hi to people in the chat. Hello, Nicole. Okay, so I wanted to begin Ted Investigates right now as I was doing a lot of research earlier in the day, and I wanted to go over Richard Allen's bullet and some of the pictures of it's not Richard Allen's bullet, but the unspent round that the prosecutors had that they found, 2 feet away from Abby and Libby's body. My vision, I'm sorry. Okay, so let me pull that up real quick for everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? Let's give it maybe another 30 seconds to see who's going to hop on. What do you say? What's up, Deb? Can everybody hear me okay? We have next week, we have some special guests. I know I keep saying it, probably sound like a broken record, but we have some really, really cool special guests that I've been able to, with the help of some of our friendly subscribers, get some good people on the show. How are you? I hear you fine. Yeah. I'm doing good. I can't complain, right? Everything's doing good. Okay. Let's go over real quick. I want to add this to the stage. Maybe it needs to be a little bit bigger. Can everybody see that? So this is okay. Sounds good. Okay, so this is the magic bullet. Okay, let me actually blow this up so I can see it a little bit better. Yep, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. That's very important. Okay, so the magic bullet. Okay, February 14, 2017, an unfired cartridge found in the dirt at the crime scene. Still no explanation from the state on whether it matches any of the casings that were collected, yet never tested. Okay, it's just absolutely unbelievable. So here we go. Here is the Winchester round, 40 caliber, that they found, just laying in an area probably where people hunt, where people have bullets. There's mushroom hunters. I mean, this is what they're showing us. I mean, it's pretty pathetic. Go on to the next photo here. Oops. Give me 1 second. I think the chat box is in the way. I'm sorry about that. Hold on. I can't go to the next photo. 1 second. Let me, how do I do this? Shut off the chat box. Okay, here we go. Okay, so when you're chambering around, right, this is the proof. This is the one thing that they tried to tie Richard Allen to, which is absolutely crazy. Doesn't make any sense. And I took some pictures on one of the transcripts of it. Okay, here's the other thing. Okay, so again, this is the the unfired cartridge. So if you, So if you look at this, oops, why is it jumping around on me? Okay, so if you look at this is what's going to put somebody away for 130 years. Okay, chambering a gun is completely different than firing a gun. Melissa Oberg, the forensic scientist, even admitted in the court transcripts. At first, she said there was like a 2% accuracy, and then she said it wasn't accurate at all. Okay, so just take a good look at this bullet, okay? And I'm going to show you photos of them trying to show little scratch marks on it, okay? But they had to try it hundreds of times to get it to mimic, to look like it was the same bullet that they found on the crime scene. And as we all know, it wasn't even a bullet at the crime scene. It wasn't, didn't kill the, poor girls. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so this is looking at the other. Again, they're just taking a picture of it. I don't know what we're looking at here. I don't know how you could tie anybody to 130 years in prison for something like this. We're going to go on to the next slide here. And this is what they're circling. They're circling 3 little dots when you chamber it. I mean, are you kidding me? Does that make any sense? Is that ludicrous? Is that absolutely insane? I mean, that is beyond stupid. Okay. This is what you're going by. Okay. I'm going to go by, okay, if I'm a detective, okay, right here, I'm going to go by 3 little dots. Okay. Oh, we got you. You're the killer. You must be the killer. Okay. Let's go to the next photo of the unspent round. This is great. Whoa. Look out. We're really, the chief commander of forensic files. What in God's green earth is that? You are trying to mimic by chambering a gun. That is the evidence you're showing me. You're taking my life and you're putting me 130 years behind bars. And that's your proof. This isn't firing a gun where each bullet makes a shape coming out. Okay? Makes a very specific shape. Look at those 3 marks. What am I looking at here? And then you have to do it so many times over and over to get it done right. Okay? If it's such an exact science, why would you have to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? If I take a 45 caliber gun, and another 45 caliber gun, and I shoot both of them, and I retrieve the bullets, each signature of that gun is going to tie right back to those guns. What is that? Okay, and I'm sorry I'm kind of belaboring the point, but I'll tell you what it is. It's justice that isn't served correctly. It is somebody that has been framed because they didn't have someone to frame it on. Ron Logan passed away. They couldn't figure it out. Okay, let's look at the next photo. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, and this is zoomed in on a microscopic lens. Okay. What are we looking at, people? What? You're going to put me in jail over this? Okay, so let's look at the red arrow real quick. You have a little scratch mark. Okay, so I'm going to take 100 other bullets and chamber them. And I'm going to get a tiny itty bitty scratch mark there. And I'm going to get a tiny itty bitty little scratch mark there. And then up there looks like, I don't even know what we're looking at. They failed Richard Allen. As much as I don't want to go against the defense team, this is definitely failing. This is comical. Okay, I've shotgunned for many years. This is a joke. I have family that are special operators. They told me. They're like, you're out of your mind. We fire guns since we're, 12-year-old boys hunting. You can't chamber around. We have a gunsmith on the show that'll tell you that too. And here's the proof. This is what we're looking at, people. This is what we are looking at. This is what got him. Scratch marks. Not DNA. Not DNA underneath the fingernails. Not blood evidence. Not semen. Something that looks like a coffee table scratch that your 5-year-old did playing with his Legos. Okay? And then they tried to mimic it a bunch of times. And then Melissa said, it's not exact. Okay? An unfired cartridge found in the dirt at the crime scene. Still no explanation from it on the state on whether it matches any of the other casings that were collected. Yet they're never tested because you can't find it. And then why didn't you test Ron Logan's gun? Why didn't you test Brad Holder's gun? Why didn't you test everybody's gun? Because it's not an exact science, because you would have had to do hundreds and hundreds of tests. Okay. Let's see what else I have on my slide. Okay. Now this is Richard Allen's house. This is where they found his gun. Okay. They, you have his P226, you have his holster, you have the bullet laid out. They took a picture of it. Looks like this is his bedspread. Okay. Next slide, we zoom in a little bit. As you can see right there, the marking of the PP26. You have the bullet. You have the gun that he claims, he didn't use for like 20 years. Okay. He hasn't used that thing in 20 years. Now, there's the box it was in. Okay. Does this look like a box of somebody that uses a gun on a regular basis? Is this some gigantic gun safe? This is like something that you would put away and never think about it again. This is like a comic book that you would never think about again. You just put away the comics, you throw it in this gross box, you shut it, and you forget about it. Okay. Now let me get out of the screen, if that allows me to. Whoa. Okay, let's turn back on comments. Okay, let's see what everybody says. As with bite marks, the evidence, he'll be ruled out. DK, if Rick had any knowledge of the crime, I see that, blah, blah, blah. Why has Holder consulted an expert before his alibi was cleared? Bradley, common sense should tell people you can't match the two. You don't need to be an expert exactly. I wonder if the guns were tested and we just don't know it was. Yeah, probably junk box. Yeah, you just throw your gun in there. It's not even a guy that looks like he could use the gun. I mean, it's a complete joke. Yeah, exactly. We should testify all the people's bank accounts against Rick. Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to Oklahoma. Thank you. Yep. Let's see. This is a really good point here. This is something that really worries me. This is junk science, and they're trying to make it admissible in court. Well, bullshit, allowed it. Now it become a case law. Very scary. Yep, exactly. Very scary. Okay, I'm just catching up really quick, and we'll go on to the next subject shortly. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Yeah, I know. I've never even heard of testing an unshot bullet. I mean, that's a new one. That's especially when you got Holman with that interrogation. Well, the experts were the ones that know, these guys have years of it. I mean, I felt like I was watching a South Park episode. If it wasn't about murder, okay, if it wasn't about two little girls, Holman, the way he was acting, it literally looked like a South Park episode. That's how silly and stupid it looked like. It seemed like such a joke. Okay. Okay, let me just see. Yeah, and I think the bullet was planted too, 100%. Okay, now let's go to, I got the Delphi timeline. We're going to go to the transcripts. I'm going to read a little bit about this. Okay, I'm going to blow up the screen for a minute. We get a lot of fun stuff we're going to go through tonight too, people. So keep the faith. Ted, you got a Michael Osberg here. He's got the facts. Okay, good. Yeah, Michael, if you wanted to hop on, please hop on. I was going to start reading this, but if you want to call in, I apologize if I'm not familiar with you. But Michael, we'd love to hear you. Let me see what else. Let's see if I can find Michael in the group chat. Sometimes when I zoom out of this window, I can't find it. Ronnie is what I heard. Okay, so we have a State Exhibit 290 description, Richard Allen interview, October 13, 2022, time 10:45. Again, this guy's been interviewed so many different times. I mean, he was there the first time when they were saying, please come forward if you're on the bridge. Then they lost his, sticky pad and a file, but they didn't think it was him because he said he didn't see the girls. He turned around, he saw those three girls. His story has always been very, very consistent. Yeah, Michael. Okay, Michael. Okay. Let me zoom out again. If Michael wants to hop on, we'd love to hear him. Hold on one second. Okay, here is, if you'd like to join, just let me know. Here is the StreamYard link. And I want to tell everybody sorry about the energy. I'm usually a little bit more higher energy, a little bit louder. I had a busy day at work today. So at nighttime, I tend to kind of unwind and I'm a little bit more quiet. So I hope I'm not boring you guys with the tone of my voice. Okay. Well, Michael, there is the link. We'd love to have you on. I'm going to wait a little bit. If not, I'm going to start reading this for everybody. You've officially arrived at TED. Yeah, Ted can be like really outgoing and like a ball of energy. And then sometimes he could sound like he's reading a bedtime story. Okay, so Michael, just let me know. In the meantime, is it okay if I read? I don't know if I haven't seen his screen name and he might be doing other things. Again, holy cow, Keith's on. We always love Keith. Keith, did RA have matching ammo at his house? Not that it means anything, but just curious if he had a box of matching ammo found like a box. Yeah, I think he did. I think he had like a box of ammo that he said he never used. And he had the gun since like 2001. I mean, it was just like a guy that just has a gun. And, um, you know, his story has been the same since day one. He was looking at his stock ticker. He was really embarrassed for his family too. Once they really ruined his reputation in Delphi, that mattered the most to him. Outside of obviously the poor little girls he felt bad for, but I mean they really railroaded him. Let's see, they allowed possibly Ron. Yeah, and then I think it was Keith last night that said, "Why are we not testing Ron's gun? Why are we not testing Brad Holder's gun? Why aren't we testing everyone that has a gun in that area? Why are we not testing the gun of the guy that's on the property that the girls were found? What? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not in law enforcement, but like that would be something you probably should test." Let's see. Yeah, it does have many tentacles. So I was listening to Erica Morse, who has a great podcast. She's very analytical and very strategic in the way she talks. Um, and this case does have a lot of tentacles. This case has a lot of corruption. I'm trying to get together with her before I speak on any of it because it is a lot to wrap your head around. And when I want to release information, I want to make sure that I'm releasing the right information. And her channel's great, but there's only so much time in the day when you have a full-time job. And she's got a lot of great podcasts, but it's almost like you have to put like um, you watch the movies where they're looking for a fugitive and they put a person's face and then they draw a line to where he might go. I literally have to put in my room everybody's face and like how they're related within law enforcement and where the corruption lies because it's a lot of names to wrap your head around, let alone all these other suspects. Yes, Jenny. I'm trying to get Michael on the show. I here. Let me give the link again. I mean, he might be tired too. Is he saying he wants to hop on? I don't want to force someone to jump on if they don't want to jump on. You know what I mean? So here it is. But thank you. I appreciate it, Jenny, for looking out for me. Jenny rocks. What up, Bezo Jones? I think the bullet was dropped by one of the investigators. What happens to the decommissioned police firearms? ISP a few years ago prior used a model that had the same round. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not out of like, I definitely wouldn't say that didn't happen, right? I mean, there's a lot of theories with what could happen, especially the way they railroaded him, especially the way the interrogation was. Um, So far, just to let everybody know, I can continue to reading. I put together stuff, but I'd really like to hear Michael. But usually, if he does want to join, it pops up where I have to let him in. And right now, I'm not seeing it. So I'm not trying to. Yeah. I'm definitely not. Okay. Just text me too, whoever has my number, because if I'm reading, hey, Reby, what's up? Text me too, because if you have my number and I'm like reading and I can't see the chat thread, let me know if Michael wants to hop on. We'll stop the show. Yes, Jenny, I've spoken to Bob Mata. He is going to be hopping on the show. He's a great guy. I followed him for years with other cases and seen him on News Nation and Court TV, but we've had 2 conversations. We're locking down a time for next week or the following. But yeah, he's definitely going to do the show. He also wants to do a little bit of John Wayne Gacy. I followed the Gacy trial too with Michael Rossi and some of the people that Gacy groomed. So we're going to do, he's going to talk as much as he can about this case, but it's also going to be a little bit about John Wayne Gacy. Okay, let's see. And please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's see, Michael pops and everywhere, and we'll talk when he can. Okay. Yeah, as long as anybody that has my cell phone number, just here, I'll turn it on in case I'm reading and just blabbing. I'd love to get him on board. Let me see. Eric Bezo Jones. Eric has a defense team investigator, and Michael in Indiana both have seen discovery in the case. A lot of info, but on different sides for why. Yeah, I mean they have a lot of good stuff. Cool. Yeah. I definitely want to definitely covering other cases. Also, we have another guest coming on. I'm not going to say who. I talked to this individual tomorrow. I think that's going to be fun. So I'm going to start reading this. Text me for the people that have my cell phone number to be like, hey, Scott, Mike's on. We'd love to give the floor to him. So I'm going to zoom out, though, because I am a little bit older in life. In the last couple of years, my vision has gotten, and I know I always say this, it's gotten terrible. And you think, okay. So Richard Allen interview, this is back on October 13, 2022. It's interrogated by Steve Mullen and Tony Liggett, location Franklin Street Investigation Center. Mullen and Liggett escorted Allen into the room. Steve said, okay, great, have a seat over there in the chair. Richard Allen said, thank you. Yep, exactly. It is the first sign of being old. That's funny. And it just happened the last couple of years. I don't know if it's because I'm always looking at my iPhone. Steve said, I don't know if I gave you one of my cards there is. I gave you one of my RA said you did. Set it down on the table there. There you are. Good. So there's no reason we wanted to talk to you. Is the see, the comments are getting in the way again. 1 second. In full screen mode, new private chat will appear in the corner. You can turn this off. Okay, I'm going to turn it off, guys. No, it's not turning off. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. So just make sure you let me know when so just make sure you let me know when Michael's on. Okay. Okay, Richard. Okay. Steve, I don't know if I gave you one of my cards. That is, I always give one to my Richard Allen said you did. Steve said, set it down on the table there. There you are. Good. So the reason we wanted to talk to you is about I said, the Abby and Libby case. It's flying around on me. Steve said, and I've appreciated your time doing that and the formality before we talk to anybody about these things. I want to make sure you understand you're not under arrest or anything like that, okay? And the door here is open, and then you could leave at any time. I'll be glad to give you a ride back to whenever. So, but we need to make sure that we go over formality here. and I'm going to get to the page where it's at. This is a Miranda warning. All right, we'll skip over that. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you for a question if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering. Okay, let's skip over that. It was the Miranda rights. Ellen just said okay. Steve, okay, there's a formality we take care of whenever we talk to anybody. Liggett said, we're just going back to the beginning of the case, and we know you had talked to Lieutenant Dillon. We just want to figure out what you saw when you were out there before. Steve said, great, wonderful, okay. Now, Tony brought up something that had done when initially you had talked to Lieutenant Dillon. And according to Lieutenant Dillon, the information got to you was from was that you were on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. Does that make sense? 2:33. No. 2:34. Steve, okay. And that you had parked at the old farm building. I think that may have been the old welfare office out there. Well, Steve said, and while at the Freedom Bridge, you saw 3 females and noticed one taller and had black and brown long hair. And this is basically what we had written down. Okay, and maybe he even got some information about your phone, something like that. Richard Allen said, oh, yeah. Steve said, okay, great. So let me now you understand everything. I want to make sure that we kind of get some information from you. Let me get started here off the bat with today's date, which is Thursday and is 10/13 of 22. What time do you have, Tony? Liggett said 11:15. Steve, 11 or 10:45, and your full name is Richard, Hard. Steve said. Matthew Allen, Richard Matthew Allen. Steve, that's Allen, Allen. Richard Allen said, let me see if someone's texting me about what's his face being on. Nope, not yet. Okay. And how old are you now? 50 years old. Okay. What is your date of birth? September 9th, 1972. Okay, great. Could I ask you to write down your full name where the X is right there? Oops, sorry. Let me just set the goal here. I'm just looking. Okay. Okay, great. Could I ask you to write down your full name? I'm 50 years old. 2. Oh, trying to build rapport. Steve, I'm beyond that, actually. I just turned. Richard Allen, no, sorry, hard to believe. Steve, do you have your driver's license number off the top of your head? Richard Allen said no. Steve said, don't worry about it. The home address, I didn't get it when I was out there. What is it? 1967. Steve said 67. Richard Allen said Whiteman Drive. Okay. And a phone number you can be contacted at. Next page. He read off his phone number. Liggett said, would you like water? I got one right here, Tony. Steve said. Liggett said, oh, okay, I'll be right back. Steve, and do you have any other cell phone numbers that you can be contacted by? I got my wife's number. Steve said, okay, what is her phone number? Ellen gave the number. Steve said, okay. Richard Allen I never dial numbers anymore, Steve, I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. And how long have you had the phone number that's yours, that's your own cell? Steve, what do you mean you never dial phone numbers anymore? Are you inept? Are you born in the Fred Flintstone era? People store cell phone numbers with names on it and they don't remember numbers. Steve, right off the bat, he's inept. Liggett enters. Steve said, would that be? Richard Allen said, hey, I believe I got it when I walked in Indy, so it'd be hard prior to 2006. Okay, Richard Allen, because it's an Indy number. Steve, okay. So let's see. And can I ask what kind of phone do you have? Richard Allen said, oh, it's an Android, a Google. Okay, yeah. What's your email address? Rick2045 at frontier.com. Steve said, "Do you have any other email address? I know I have a couple myself, so why I ask." Richard Allen, I don't use it very often. Google, it's Fujaka at gmail.com, and I've had one at Yahoo and at some point too, but I don't remember. Steve Miller, okay, great. How about social media? Do you have any applications that you use like Facebook at all? Richard Allen said no. Do you have a Facebook account? Miller asked. Richard Allen says, "Oh, my wife does." Okay, so he doesn't even have social media. He's not even a creeper, right? He's not looking at little girls on social media or doing whatever he's doing. He doesn't even have social media. He's just a regular dad. He's a regular guy. I mean, this is just the craziest stuff. Um, okay, Richard Allen cheese. Steve said, "Yeah, I'm there all the time." Yeah, she does. Steve said, "Okay, all right. So what is your marital status?" "I'm married." Steve said, "Married, okay. And you have been married before?" "No." "Okay. Number of children we're talking about?" One daughter. Your daughter, what's her name again? Rick? "Oh, my daughter. Oops. That's your daughter?" Rick Jr. "No, Brittany." "Okay. And how old is Brittany?" "Now you said I can't do math over here." Richard Allen said 28. 28, okay. She's born when you said 1994? 94, okay. And what's her last name? Zapanta. Liggett leaves. Steve goes, "Okay, it's Z, blah, blah, blah," spells it out. Steve says, "Okay. And any grandkids?" "No." "Okay. And what's her husband's name? He's from around here?" "No." What's new? He's originally from the Philippines. "Oh, okay. But lived in Canada and he's been here well shortly before they got married. So around 16, maybe 15, 16. Okay. I don't know. They got married at 17. What's his name?" "Paulo." Steve said, "Okay, Paulo. Um, keep going here." Steve said, "Okay, I got it. All right. So, but he lived here. I seem to remember some Zapatas being around." "No, not around here." "Not around here?" "No. Maybe it's somebody else." She was already up in England when she met him. "Oh, I see. Okay, all right. Graduated high school. Where at?" "Liggett Enters, North Miami." "What year?" 91. "Okay. And any other vocational training, college classes?" "Ivy Tech, a couple semesters." "What did you study? What you study there?" "Accounting." "Okay. Any other vocational training or no?" "Okay." And everybody, please make sure you like and subscribe. Richard Allen, well, I was in the military, but okay, that's a question coming up here. Were you where you were involved in a fraternal organization, club, or athletics, or anything like that in school? I did some track here and there. I did football for a year, but nothing serious. Okay, any clubs of National Honor Society or something like that? No. Steve Millen goes, no. Terry Liggins goes, sorry, me either. Military service, what branch? The National Guard. And highest rank achieved, E5 Sergeant. Okay, mostly around here, or no, it was in, I was born and raised, well, not born, but I lived in Mexico most of my life, which is Mexico, Indiana. Um, Indiana, okay, yeah, I get that. Next page. Yeah, you always get that. Like Denver. Yeah, okay, but it was Mexico. Yeah, yeah, okay, but it was Peru where I was in the National Guard. All right, go to church anywhere? No. Have you ever? Next page. On occasion, nothing. Okay, you were. Where do you usually go? To any place around here, or I don't even know. No, not around here. Okay, all right. Parents go to church, or did they take you to church with them? No, my grandparents went to church. My parents didn't. Nice. Okay. Any criminal history? Have you been arrested for anything? Mm-hmm. Okay. And medical problems, heart trouble, high blood pressure, psychological disorder? Oh yeah, a bit of everything. He's just being an honest guy. Everybody goes through challenges. Steve says, okay. Helen goes, I've had a heart attack. I got a couple of stints. Steve Mullen said, okay. Richard Allen said, Liggett then came in and said, "How long was your heart attack?" 2010. Okay. How old were you? 37. It's a young age. Steve said, and what else? Depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, cholesterol. Oh, all right. And you're working at CVS? Mm-hmm. All right. So you said you've been there for how many years? Since, well, not the one here, but CVS since 2013. Okay. Did you work at another CVS somewhere else? Yeah, I worked and trained in Marion. I worked in Purdue, and then I came to Delphi. I'm thinking 6, 17, 16. I've been there for a while now. Steve Mullen said, but you said you've been living at your house out there since 2000. And so you drive back and forth to CVS? Yeah, I was leaving Walmart. Like I said, I spent 10 years with Walmart. I mean, this guy's got a good job history. This guy stays at jobs. RA I was actually a store manager at one point with Walmart, and I chose to leave the company and do something different. An interview with CVS in Peru, was the district manager, and I interviewed, but Peru was the furthest Western store that he had or closest to me. Mm-hmm. Richard Allen. So that's where I was going to be working, and it just didn't work out the way that I thought it was long term. I mean, I was there several years. Yeah, Richard Allen. But I wanted to do. They had a training position, managerial training position. I told them I didn't want to do that anonymous. Uh huh. Richard Allen. Oh, long story short, and put in the transfer back. Like I said, um, 15, 16, going to see around 16, 17 somewhere. Steve said, all right, well, that's managing is kind of hard sometimes. I understand there is a particular reason why I didn't stay in management. RA said, hey, I'm just tired of it, bureaucracy, just not being able to take care of the customer. It's more about hitting the number on the spreadsheet than the number on that spreadsheet. And they were getting called every 15 minutes if you didn't hit this number on the spreadsheet. And none of them really helped bother care for customers. Okay, so what does that tell you? He cares about customers. I mean, who even thinks like that working at a CVS, right? There he is being caring again. I mean, everything points away from this guy. If you didn't hit your number on the spreadsheet and none of them really help take better care of the customer, it means you spend your time managing scorecards, and I just had enough of it. Sure. I was just tired of it, Rick said. Next page. Sure. Okay. Let's see from where we're at right now. I think probably can you help us understand what was going on Monday, February the 13th? Can you kind of tell us what you were doing that day and remember the day the girls went missing? Okay. Steve, we're out on the trail. Okay, yeah. I went over to my mom's in Peru, Mexico earlier in the day. I think my ma had hip surgery back then or something, but regardless, my wife was working. So I went over there. I spent the day, not the day, I spent the morning with them. My sisters come over. They were going to eat lunch and stuff, and I wasn't about that. So I went home, and I remember it was fairly a warm day. Steve goes, we're warmer than normal. So I think I just put a jacket on and went back out to the trails. Usually we had, when we go, we walk down to the high bridge and walk back and walk down the other side and come back. I mean, it wasn't a ritual, but I remember walking down to the bridge. Okay, next page. Richard Allen, the time it was I left my mom's, it was probably around 11 to 11:15. So I think I would have been out there because I didn't do anything else. I have been around noon. I thought it was when I was out there. Mm-hmm. Richard Allen walked to the high bridge, went out just a little ways, not all the way, went out a little ways and watched the fish, which he's always said, seeing if I seen any fish down there because I like fishing, walked back, sat on when you turn around, go down the other part, there's a bench that overlooks, and sat there for a few minutes and walked back out and left. SM, okay. Anything else you remember? Well, Steve said, where would you have parked your car? Sorry, I'm just checking to see if anybody has texted me. Okay, give me a second. Where would you have parked your car? Up your ass, Steve. No, I'm kidding. That's what I would say. Richard Allen said there was a big parking lot, wasn't there at the time. Steve said, oh, you mean which one? Like the one where the bridge is at. I don't think it was there. So there, if you went over behind there, there's a back road that went up and it was a bridge. Steve goes, Not the main bridge, Rich said. There was a similar bridge where you could park there. Steve Miller said, Richard Allen, or you could park over on the other side. And remember, I didn't park over there where it's a farmer's entrance or something. I remember I didn't park there because I had told him something about there were a couple of vehicles there when I left. So I had parked somewhere other, parked over the bridge side, or there used to be a little building there I could have parked. There was a trail. Okay. Richard said, until they got the whole thing done, okay, you're talking about the bridge, guy. You're talking about the bridge. Just so I'm clear, you're talking about that big blue bridge or whatever that goes over the highway. That's the big blue bridge. But before that was if you're if you were going out of town, you would take the road that I think is where the park is. It veers off. It winds off this way, and there's a road. The first road you come to, well, I don't know if it's the first road, but there's a road that takes off to the right, and there's houses, and then it kind of turns into a lane, and there's a small bridge up there before. I think it's still there. If you were, Tony Ligon said, like the one day. So you're talking about the one lane bridge kind of goes. It would have been. Richard Allen, it wasn't used. It wasn't a bridge that was used. I guess it was what I'm saying. There was a parking lot area up there that you could park in. Richard Allen, that's where the people used to quiet. Okay, let me see if I can get the chat thread up. Hold on, because I kind of miss seeing what people are saying too. 1 second. Okay. And then let me zoom in. Okay. Richard Allen, that's where quite a few people would park before. There's a nice parking space, but it was either you parked there or you parked over in the farmer's thing. This is just a regular guy telling a regular story. I don't know what these questions are, what they're trying to figure out. Just get down to the brass tacks here, guys. You guys seem like chicken shits in my mind. Just ask him the tough questions. He's done. He's said everything. He's talking about being a manager at Walmart for 10 years, being a manager at CVS. He's showing empathy about not just caring about a number, but caring about the customer. Let's get to the brass tacks of this, guys. You guys are beating around the bush. You guys are idiots, in my opinion. You guys are horrible investigators, and you're not as bad as Holman, but you guys are this is just around in circles. This is like, oh, hey, you parked here, you went there. Okay, so God, I hate reading this. I would have been around the bridge. And then Tony Liggett, I guess I'm going to have to. Steve said, so this kind of overview of the area. So obviously this is a blue bridge over the Hoosier Heartland Highway. Okay, what do you want me to, what is this, Google Maps? You want me to describe everything? Steve Muller said, yeah, and so, yeah, can you mark on where you think you parked at? Go ahead. Show me the blue bridge again. Blue Bridge, here's the Hoosier Heartland Highway, here's the main street. The road that comes out the front downtown goes to the Heartland, and here's the Andersons. I think that's where it is. And that's where I would stop you in the track and say, okay, why am I here? Is it for the girls? And let's start talking about that. I am not here to give you the breakdown of Google Maps. Google Map it yourself. I'm not here to tell you what paint color this is. Let's quit beating around the bush and let's have a conversation, or I want my attorney. Plain and simple. You guys are idiots. Richard Allen, oh, well. Plant, and down there's the Cobb. Oh, that's the Blue Bridge. He's talking about, they're talking about the Blue Bridge again. Guys. You don't have any experience in interrogation. Are you going to talk about the type of bolts that are put into the bridge too, and ask him like, hey, do you think the road needs to be repaved? I mean, what are we talking about here? This is, I would be defensive. I would start getting agitated with these people. I would be like, hey, are you going to start asking me questions on why I'm here? Because be straightforward with me. Do you think my car was somewhere? What are we talking about here? Show me where you think I'm at, and I'll tell you. Sorry about that, guys. This is just crazy after a while. Steve said, well, that's one of the parking areas. Okay, then there's the other one. Oh, okay, there would have been an old building somewhere. I mean, get a lawyer. This is stupid. Steve Mullen said, there's this map was taken back when the building was still there, and this building, and this is the building that was on the bridge, the trail side of the bridge. Richard Allen, okay. So then Steve goes, so down and up. I mean, these are investigators. These are professional people that represent law enforcement are talking like this. I mean, this is Bush League. Richard Allen, did you get this way? I think you went down that way. And I mean, what's with the I mean, can you think? Can you rub two brain cells together and think of any other response besides Richard Allen, like there was an underpass or something. Yep, that's right. And then there's a building right there if you can see it. I mean, okay, so it would be either been there, okay, and then Steve goes, okay, all right, very good. Which way do you think you would travel to get to the building? Richard Allen said that that way that loops around. Okay. I don't know the names of the roads or anything. I just mean I can show you where I drove, but it's just on the way, the road that goes out. It's basically the same way that you get to this one, except no, it's further up and you go down and it comes down and goes around somewhere and comes over the other side. Okay, very good. Okay. Was it ever an occasion where you might have gone to park another way? Did you go out here very often? Not like I wouldn't say often. I mean, we go out. We may go out once a month. We may go out twice in a week. I mean, it was just kind of one of those things where we felt like walking the trail. That's what people do, Steve. People enjoy the outdoors, especially a nice warm February, because us Midwesterners, things get cold, Steve. Do you want to keep talking about the bridges and the asphalt and like how old trees are in the area? Sorry. Rick Allen, I mean, where I say we visited regularly. Yeah, I'm a dad. I got a 28-year-old daughter. We go for brisk walks. We enjoy the Monon High Bridge. We don't go really across of it. We look for fish or mushroom hunting. I've been at CVS a long time. I've never had a felony. I never committed a crime. I don't have a social media account. I go through depression. Millions of Americans, by the time they hit their 30s, 40s, 50s, are on some type of depression to feel better. There's nothing here, guys. Richard Allen, during the summer months, we didn't really go out there much. In the winter, we may have gone out a time or two. And then you're going to like be in Richard Allen, right? Now, Ron Logan's different, but Ron Logan was probably trying to force the girls in his house. But you're Richard Allen. You don't have your property around you. It's a 30, 40-degree day. And I'm not trying to make anyone sound, I'm not trying to gross out anybody. But when it's 30 degrees out, are you horny when it's 30 degrees out? Is sex on your mind when you're cold? Or if it's 40? You're in a jacket, you're in jeans. I mean, I know males and, both races can have sexual attraction, but you're a 50-year-old man. You have a daughter, you have a wife. You're wearing a coat. You're taking a brisk walk. You don't have social media. You're not looking at porn on your phone. And you're horny. You're walking that Monon High Bridge that's 60 feet in the air that has all those missing bridge pieces and you're turned on. No, Ron Logan wanted those girls to go to his house to molest them. That's what I fully believe, but I'll keep going. Uh, Jenny, only if I'm camping. There, I mean, there's a way if you go past where you park, the farmer's entrance. That's what I was telling you about. Oh, I think it's down there. Was an entrance across the residence. That's a farmhouse. Does that make sense? Yeah. I mean, just show them the graph of everything at this point. What are we all speculating and thinking of things in our head? Richard Allen. I mean, there's I know there's a way that winds around you can eventually get back to 200. I'm sorry, that winds around and you can eventually get back to 200 or whatever road it's near. We're off 200 north, I think it is. It comes out somewhere down there. But we only did it, I think we found that by accident one time. We thought we'd go that way and we tried to get back, and it wasn't, eventually came out that way. I mean, this is just a dad talking. Okay, but no, I wouldn't. If we were going to go there, we wouldn't go down there. Okay, good to know. All right, so let's talk more about remembering what you were doing that day. Okay, you gave an account to the officer talked to you, and do you remember how that was prompted? How that happened? If it happened to talk to Officer Richard Allen? I don't remember if if it was the next day or a couple days, but shortly after, they were asking for anybody that was there to come in. So I went. I got home from work, and my wife said, they want to talk to you, because I had obviously told her that I was there. And she said they want to talk to anybody that was down there. If they have any information, I don't know how much, but I obviously will go. So we went down to the sheriff's station, and I don't remember who it was, came out and talked to me and said that he would get my name and information. And then I was driving downtown for something, and I know that I remember he called me when I was in the car, because I pulled over and talked to him. It was a DNR officer. He asked me if I could come down and talk there, or if I want to meet someone, and I don't remember how or why. I think they were really busy, obviously crowded, probably. So I was heading down to it. It was a Save Lot parking lot down there, and I told him I would just meet him there if that was okay. So he came down and we talked. We looked at my phone, talked to my phone information, and got we took the battery out and everything, and he got the information off it. All right, so you got all the information off the phone. Done. Nothing on the phone. Got all the information off the original phone of the guy. I mean, this is just this is actually terrible. All right, that's pretty much it. I mean, I gave him the account. Forgive me. I mean, it's been years, and I thought about it as time goes on. Uh, it's like I said, I think I was probably around noon. It could have been a little bit before noon or a little bit after. Richard Allen said exactly what time it was that I got there that day. I just remember walking down the trail. I told them that when I was approaching the trailhead, I guess is what it's called. There was 3 girls walking off the trail, and I just remember looking like one of them was probably watching, not babysitting, but watching the other 2 because they looked younger. I mean, shit. This is crazy. No, it doesn't sound like Richard Allen practice at all. And they look very similar. I don't know if they're sisters, whatever, but the other one didn't necessarily. But I remember, I can't see what the comments, but they're walking off the trail, and I didn't really see anybody. I walked down, like I said, I looked at the water, and I walked back. And he's been saying that since the beginning of time. Okay, let's see what these 2 turkeys had to say. Richard Allen, the creek bed, and all that. I remember telling him when I left. Remember being, I think there was 2 vehicles down there, the farmer's entrance that I told you about. Richard Allen, that's why I know I didn't park there. That one's here. Obviously, I wouldn't have recalled seeing cars if I parked there. The farmer's entrance. Are we still talking about this area here? Or is there some other location? Oh, yeah, there's some mystery location where Jeffrey Dahmer is going to come out of a sewer like the It character. Richard Allen. There's a pole in like right next to the trail is all I can tell you. There's a pole right next to the trail. I mean, this is How are you not falling asleep from this? How could you think anybody? I mean, these aren't even like question. Like if you watch Ted Bundy, he already knows what he's going to say. This is a guy talking about, oh, I think we went this way. Sometimes with family, we go this way. I mean, this is a sham show. There was a farmhouse across. I mean, how many times are we going to talk about these different farmhouses? This guy just went on the bridge. He saw three girls. He turned around, and that's just what he did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, these guys are terrible investigators. I'd fire these guys in 2 seconds. These guys are freaking frack. Steve said, okay. Richard Allen, oh, I'm getting hot. I'm sorry. I got to take this off. Um, did you ever park the car there when you went there before? Did you ever park the car there when you went there before? A lot of times. Okay. I mean, we used it when I wasn't marked. Richard Allen said we did a cleanup down there one time I bought a bunch of Walmart people, kind of a community engagement. Now he's doing community service stuff. And we did cleanup down there. It's the year that they tore down, we tore down, and they needed people to help out. I mean, this is even tough to read. I mean, if you think this guy is guilty, you need to like go back to school and like learn your like alphabets and learn emotional intelligence and how to pick up social cues. Because I mean, I feel like a 10-year-old could read this and say this guy's innocent. Richard Allen was telling the truth, or sorry, RA, that I was telling you about. You did. If you go down the hill, there used to be a little shed, a little shack down there, and they tore that down. And that's where they were that day, tore that down. Okay, yeah, now you guys with Walmart, was that a local Walmart you worked at? Now we're talking about Walmart. I mean, this is hard for me to read it, and I've read this before. I've seen this interrogation, and this like put me to sleep. It's so bad. Lafayette. Oh, okay, the one off Commerce or the one on, yeah, the one off Commerce, dipshit. I mean, man, luckily I wasn't on this. So you guys came up and did that. Do you know when that was? Oh Lord, no. Well, was it better or after this? 2006, it would have been way before. It wasn't even when I was. It wasn't even with it. Was what 17? Yep, when the girls were out there. 13, I wasn't even with Walmart at the time. Richard Nealon, yeah, it would have been the day before. Okay. I mean, I went to CVS and I'd say 13, so it would have had to have been before 13. Okay, so you say you're out there working on trails. I'm going to say a lot, or Richard Allen said, I'm going to say a lot earlier than that because I worked in Chicago, south of Chicago, for a couple of my last years with Walmart. And then I was actually running the store. So I'm probably around 9 to 10. All right, so he's a very responsible guy. Good husband, very responsible guy, cares about the customers at CVS, follows the trails. Um, Steve Mullen said, all right, somewhere around there. So you were working there on the trails. Have you been familiar with the trails before then? Was there a time that you have been out on the trails? Richard Allen, we had walked after we moved to Delphi. I mean, we started experimenting with the trails. Uh, this is brutal. Yeah, the Holman interview is a whole different thing. I mean, that guy came in guns blazing. That guy would have tried to make a saint guilty. I mean, he is as corrupt as anybody. I mean, I would be embarrassed if I was him because there's video recorders how he acted. I mean, these guys are just kind of slow. Uh, Holman came in like guns blazing, like he just already assumed this guy was guilty. He had no evidence, and he was just like, "I'm getting you to admit to this, whether I got to get you in a headlock and body slam you," is what, from my perspective, was. Okay, so Richard Allen said, but you hear about one and you go, I'm sure to the point, Richard Allen, because that's how we had, I don't know how I got associated with Dan. Dan something or another runs with Erie. I think it was Dan. Dan MC, Dan McCain. McCain, yep. Oh, okay. I don't remember how I became acquainted with him. He had asked me to be at Walmart. Um, this is just horrible detective work. And I do have the timeline on the next thing. I have the entire state timeline, so you can see about all the girls saying all different guys, and then people saying it was an older man walking on the bridge. I have all that in the next slide. Um, Richard Allen, but you can also give money to, like, so because we bought so many people out for the event for a day, we had so many hours and we were able to donate money of that from Walmart to the Erie Canal Foundation or whatever. So we worked. I guess the question is, yeah, I knew a lot of trails before that. Okay. Richard Allen said, and we worked. We also worked out at the Coalition Bridge that day. There's a towpath or something. It cleaned up stuff along the way. Okay. Yeah, but I think it's overkill small town talk. I think we are not getting to the point. I think you're getting the person you're talking to exhausted. I think you're trying to wear them down and you're asking questions that are going around in circles that are stupid. I think the stuff you're asking, it's not slick, it's not manipulative, it's not persuasive. I think you have very just stupid individuals that didn't study in college how to interrogate. Um, this is really bad. I've seen a lot of interrogations, and these people are the bottom of the barrel. And then you have Holman, who's the exact opposite. He thinks he's Hulk Hogan in the ring. Oh yeah, they're definitely not smarter than anybody. These people, I could see these people coming a mile away. These people are as obvious as anything. I mean, this is. I would just say I'm done talking to you guys. You guys haven't brought anything of any substance of to me in the last 2 hours, and we're going around in circles. And if you're going to do that, um, am I here? Are you arresting me? Am I detained? I'm out of here. Until you can tell me what the crime is and why you brought me here, let's stop the pleasantries. I'm not going to sit there and do pleasantries all day. And I'm from the Midwest, right? We're nice people, but guess what? There's only so many pleasantries, and then you can tell, you can see what they're trying to do. And these guys are not positioning their questions correctly. They're actually very bad at communicating. I communicate for a living. I sell for a living, and they are. I give them an F. Tony Liggett, I don't know what you're talking about. Steve said, I think you can't see it on here. Here, wait, let me fast forward some of this because this is just, look at this. And I usually, years past, like 9, 10, let's see, 6, 7, 6, 10, probably actually 8, been across the High Bridge. Um, they're, they're taking advantage of a slower dad, simple minded man, good man. And they're trying to use weak interrogation tactics, and they're doing pleasantries too long. It's like talking to someone about the weather. How long can you talk to the weather? Okay, shoot me straight, guys. Why am I here? Why did you bring me in? What are your thoughts about me and this crime? What do you need from me? Let's get right down to the brass tacks. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Okay. Yep, that's true. I do think he is a very honest guy, and he is just telling the truth. Somewhere it started getting pretty rugged and stopped going across. Oh, here, I'm going to switch this. I mean, we're talking about, I'm sorry, guys. We just read 50 pages now. We're talking, we haven't gotten down to anything. Tony Liggett, I think those were back in the day. If a train was coming and you were out there, Rick said, yeah. Get out of the train's way. Exactly. I don't think I would still want to be on it when the train came. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that day I don't remember what year it was, but it was 16th or 17th. Sure, absolutely, yeah. Um, okay, here we go. So if you were parked there, and correct me if I say, Richard announced at the bridge over here. Okay, that building. I'm sorry. So if you were parked there, how did you get on the trail? Where did you walk? At one point you either walked down the road, but then at one point they had a trail there, not a trail. I wouldn't even call it a trail. They had a gravel path that led to the new thing that they were doing. I called it a trailhead when they started doing it. That there was a trail that would, I think, it can ran along the road, and if I remember, and then it just cut over to where the trailhead was. You could really park. I just remember where the path was. You think you could park, and there was no parking, so you had to walk. I mean, this guy's got a great memory too. He reminds me of like a dad. When somebody's trying to give you directions, and you're like, no, no, I got GPS on my phone, I can do it. And he's one of those people going, okay, you want to go a mile down this road, you make a left, you're going to see a building. I mean, this is just like a normal good dude. He definitely needed a lawyer. Yeah, yeah, he definitely needed a lawyer. This is out of control. Okay, so now Richard Allen said to the bridge that way, and then if you went this way, um, it was a little bit further because you had a road. Okay, so he's described every single way to get on this trail, to get on the bridge, where his car was, what he did, how he walked, and we're sitting here doing pleasant, pleasantries, and we're in like page 60th of this slide. Tell me why I'm here, okay? So you were going for a walk down the road, or was it the path down there? He just told you that there's various different paths, there's new paths, and he was hiking, and he told you he went there and turned around and was looking for fish and turned around. Okay, and he saw three girls, and he's been consistent ever since. He was looking at a stock ticker. RA, at one point, I think you walked along the road. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I don't remember because he's an honest guy. Well, where's the trail here? Where's the trail here? How many brain cells do you got to rub together for me to tell you? I've told you this about 10 different times. It's time to lawyer up. You are going around in circles. You're not getting anywhere. I don't know if you went to like a junior college to learn interrogation or not. I'm not knocking. I didn't go to college. But what I'm saying is like, you're not slick. You're not persuasive. You're not manipulative. You are speaking in pleasantries. Okay, cut the pleasantries. We're on page 50 now. Let's get down to the brass tacks and talk to me about this case. That's why I said we were at some point. It was probably after they put that little pathway in and we parked there. I mean, here's a dad that knows everything about all the trails and all the parkways. Here's a dad again, and I don't want to repeat myself. Here's a dad at CVS Pharmacy saying, hey, they were really mean to the customers about quotas, and I cared about the customers. I mean, you have a lot of empathy right now. And if you can't notice that as a detective, something's wrong. And that's why you got to lawyer up. Uh, I would disagree. The the best form of manipulation is using somebody's words against them. All his words are truthful down the path. I could see trying to agitate him, but by knowing who Rick is, I don't think you can agitate this guy enough. I think he stays very mild manner, and I think the way he represents himself um, is very neutral. I don't think that's a way to manipulate him. I think he is a person that speaks the truth. He is a very monotone person, and you can't really get under his skin. Even in the second interrogation video, he said, hey, I don't know what you want from me. It's not my bullet. He shrugged his shoulders. He said, I'm not going to admit to something that I didn't do. Okay, if you're trying to get somebody pissed off and winning and manipulating somebody, that person's going to say, hey, I didn't fucking do it. Fuck off. And then you can beat him into a confession and go after him. He stayed the same tone the entire time. I don't know. From my perspective, I just don't see it. I think this is. I mean, I understand everybody's opinion, but this is not what I do for sales. I sell $200,000 medical devices, and I'm constantly persuading people. And if I acted like this, I would be the worst salesman in the history of life. So Ron Allen. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that were ever parked at that little building, whatever it was, until they laid that gravel path to it. I think we thought that was a new, I guess, designed parking area. Yeah, I agree. He's honest, and sometimes he'll say things. Um, yeah, he's honest to a fault. Okay, Richard Allen, we parked once in a while. We still parked here once in a while, and it just depended on where it was. Okay, let me skip over this because we're okay. Um, Richard Allen, but we didn't make it a habit. So, what car was that in your garage? What or would that have been what you drove out there that day? Okay, there was like 10 different cars witnesses saw. Oh my God, let me think here. It would have been either that one or my gray Ford 500 or 300. We kind of switched vehicles back and forth, kind of because I often worked further away from home. And when I was working in Peru, the car, what do you say? That's a 16. So prior to that, I had a little red Ford Focus in our truck where we'd get our truck at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So the truck day, I'd be driving over to Peru at 3 o'clock in the morning. And one day I was driving, I was tired. And I mean, there was oftentimes you'd be tired, but this day I was just so tired, like the point I almost should have just pulled over, but I made it over there and turned off. I didn't take the highway all the way up. I took the turn off that takes you into the back way to Purdue and made it all the way in town and literally fell asleep and woke up and then veered off the road and hit an SUV parked. Okay, I can't. I'm sorry, my vision. Hold on. Okay, how many more slides does this go? This goes. Whoa, okay. Okay, I'm going to run and take a bathroom break. Is that okay? And we can continue this. Does anybody know if Mike is on? Okay, hold on, I'll be back at this. I don't think it was that personal. I think they went a little bit too long with it personally. I mean, I watch a lot of interrogation videos. I've seen this video live, and I mean, I get it, right? A cop's got to pretend to be your friend. Hey, can I get you water? Can I do things? But this is going on and on and on and on, and it just seems it's time to lawyer up. I just don't see him as calculated, Daisy. I mean, maybe because I have a higher IQ personally. I just don't think they could trick me. But again, I watch a lot of interrogation videos. Rick doesn't. So the way these guys would present to me, I would know they were full of shit and I would lawyer up. Like if anybody's trying to be my friend or asking me about my military experience or wanting to get to know my family, And then within 5 minutes, if you're not telling me why I'm here, I'm lawyering up. I'm not playing the game. And maybe it's because I watch a lot of true crime stuff, but and Rick doesn't. But I mean, I don't look at these guys as anything special personally, and that's just my opinion. You couldn't get me to confess to anything. These people, I would lawyer up in 2 seconds. I know I would see these people coming a mile away. Yeah, that's true. Rick is a, yep, I agree with that. He doesn't see things negatively. Yep. Yeah, that's true. By not seeing things negatively and always giving people the benefit of the doubt, that's probably how they trapped him. That was a great point, Daisy. Yep. Yeah, I think he's empathetic. I mean, I don't think he's the slickest tool in the shed, right? I mean, he's not, I'm not dissing anybody, but if you're at CVS Pharmacy, I think he just wanted to get a job. I don't know if he had a ton of aspirations. I think it's good he wanted to be a father, but I mean, I don't think he's like some genius or like some high IQ person because I think he would have got out of this. I think he would have lawyered up. And again, I'm not insulting him. I'm just saying I've met a lot of people in my life that are pretty slick, and they wouldn't let people get one over on them. Yep, yep, exactly, Daisy. That's why he needed a lawyer. Yep, Jenny, you are right about that. People that work in sales can see the other side of these detectives. And then again, I have the advantage where Rick didn't, right? I watch a ton of interrogation videos. So they all kind of start out the same, where you're trying to win over the person, build rapport. So again, it's probably the internet that taught me. Uh, and if I didn't have that, I probably would fall for it, right? Because everything's streamed on the internet these days, and you could look up how to fix an electrical outlet all the way to like be interrogated. So, not trying to argue with you guys. You guys made a good point. I think it's because I've seen so many interrogation videos that I just kind of know how they're framed. Um, okay, I'm gonna run to the bathroom. Is that okay? Can everybody hold down the fort? Okay, I'll be right. Okay, let's see if I can keep reading this. I'm getting a little bit tired, everyone. I'm sorry. Um, okay. So my point was I was driving the black car. I don't know if people can even hear me. Okay, so he's trying to get a different time. Um, let's go to the next page. Steve, if I remember right, you said you were gone to Miami County to see, yeah, your mom, Mexico. Mexico, would you have planned to drive a black car because you were out of town? I wouldn't have planned no during that. Okay. Um, let's see. Uh, it's 2006. I'd say the last, 3 to 4 years. It's not that the car didn't run well. It's just one of those things where I'm old enough that you just don't want to get over somewhere because if we are usually driving, it's because she's at work and I don't want to end up having to get stranded somewhere. That's why I don't know which it was either the gray or black. Well, let me just check one more quick thing. Okay, let's see if I can skip through some of this and get to the real meat and potatoes of this. And giving them um, okay, let's see. I can't see. This is the longest document in the world. Okay, and that's honestly, I think that's why I went home as quick as I did because I wanted to get home and watch it on my computer with my stock tickers and stuff. Here he is talking about his stock tickers. Um, yeah, this computer's like so close to my face because I remember I will be doing that. That was a hobby, I guess, for me was watching the stock market and looking at the different charts. Oh, okay, yep. Yeah, that's a good catch. I don't know why I can't. Where are the comments? Ted, they're trying to get him to say he's driving a black car because they want to pin the laughable HH footage as evidence against him. Okay, let me pull up. Do you guys mind if I pull up something different? Kind of running out of steam reading this. Hold on. It's just getting late. We could always read this on the next one. Yeah, here. I think I got pictures too of the. Let's see this one. I think yeah, they're trying to pin that Ford Focus on him. Hold on, let's see. This just and we'll do this next time, but this is like a hour by hour or minute by minute of the car. Let me see if I can blow this up. Betsy Blair's vehicle seen driving. Let's see here. Approximately 12 p.m., Richard Allen parks by Old SR-25, crosses FB, and he passes three girls leaving the trail. He said one was taller, had dark hair, and the other one looked earlier. Yes. Okay, let me see if I can go find his Ford Focus they had. Approximately 11:53, Ron Logan drives to the transfer station in Delphi to drop off trash. Video from the transfer station shows Ron driving his white Ford pickup truck between 11:27 and 11:32. The video for the transfer appears to be off by 26 minutes, putting Ron at the transfer station at 11:53. 11:45, Richard Allen stops by his house to grab a jacket or a sweatshirt, then heads to the trail to take a short walk. Richard Allen leaves his home in Peru. Here's a Brad Holder take. Had to take Logan to Delphi. This should be fun. I don't know what this is. This was just in there. Approximately 10:20 p.m., Daryl Sterrett said once it got pitch black, there was a sense of urgency. They had focused on the creek. We focused on the roadside, tried to ping the cell phone, and the info they got was, okay, the cell phone pinged off the tower. What does this mean? Well, it could be within a 2-mile radius of the tower, they said. At 10:16 p.m., an analysis of Ron Logan's cell phone data revealed a text message received by him at 10:16 p.m. The initial exam of this analysis indicates Ron Logan's phone was likely outside of his residence and in the proximity of where Libby and Abby's bodies were located. 10:20 p.m., Fire Delphi Department requested you all come to the station to be briefed. Come to the station. Let's see. See if there's anything worthwhile on some of these. Did Kelsey go with Mike to collect Libby's devices? At 9 p.m., Mullen contacts Sergeant Blotcher of ISP for assistance pinging Libby's phone. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I can't even read this. Let me see if I can stretch this out. Approximately 9 p.m., while the police station, Kelsey had asked about Libby's social media. Kelsey checked her own phone because she was a Snapchat friend of her sister's. 8:58 p.m., made contact with Cass in reference to Logan Holder. Got a text as of 2015. Dad is Bradley Holder. At approximately 8 p.m., Pat stopped by Ron Logan's to see if Ron had seen the girls. Pat didn't know. Ron just informed him that 2 girls were missing. Ron told him okay when Pat said the girls were missing. Pat then drove down the park. At the cemetery, he walked down the ravine near Deer Creek and saw people setting up a drone. Mike Butran, Phil Benson, and saw people on the MHB with flashlights. 8:05 p.m., F2 required to see if anyone has made contact with Abby's boyfriend or his parents. One of the fire units, Logan Holder, that he has met them in a canal. Yeah. 517, while fruitlessly scouring the area for the girls, Mike called Libby's cell phone repeatedly, but the phone was now going straight to voicemail. Received text advising 13-year-old Libby was missing. They dropped her off the trails by the bridge. She has short blonde hair. So it's just saying she dropped her off at the bridge. Approximately 4:40, 4:10, while Derek was sitting in his car, Dave McCain ended up coming back and leaving, and two kids pulled up and they walked back to the high bridge, and that's who was back there when I got to the high bridge. Dave McCain is seen on HHS video driving westbound at 4:11 p.m. Dave McKean testified that he didn't see anyone walking down 300 North, but Tina Garrison reports states he observed a female sitting off the road on a motorcycle that law enforcement determined was Maya Abbott. Tina Garrison's report states Dave observed a man wearing a bright orange shirt shouting, "Did you see my kids?" And law enforcement said the man was Derek German. Let's see, this is just more on Shelby Hicks. Okay, phone call from DG straight to voicemail. Unknown phone number 3 comes 60 to 100 yards of the crime scene. Brad Heat's friend who works at the Cobb Mill thinks he saw the same older model car that Brad Heat saw in the same spot. I had a friend that worked at the Cobb Mill, thought he saw it and the other side of the bridge, maybe around 3:30 to 4, like he might have been watching something. After Chase Weber left for work, Kelsey hung with his grandfather and his sisters, and they were watching. Um, Sarah Carball vehicle is seen on HHS video driving eastbound. At this time, Sarah claims to have seen a man walking down 300 North in a tan coat and muddy jeans. I walked the bridge and I happened to look down and see at the first platform where you can sit and like hang off the bridge. It was my high school friend Shelby Hicks and a friend of hers at the time, Daniel. They were on the platform and didn't know she was going to be there that day. Chase and Kelsey go to wash his truck at some point. Let's see if there's any more on Logan. Michelle Wise at 3 p.m. When I went there at 3, there was a white car parked along the road with paper plates on it and dark colored car parked in the drive by the gate to go in, but didn't get any details. Unknown phone comes in within 60 to 100 yards of the crime scene. Why did law enforcement determine the vehicle Shelby described was Dave's black or dark blue car and David Riley's red Honda Ridgeline truck? Shelby testified that we walked toward the trail split, went to the right at the trail split, and walked halfway toward, probably 10 to 15 minutes down the road. Brad Weber's phone pings at his home. David described the male as 5'10", 180 pounds, dark hair, facial hair, wearing a white t-shirt. David described the male as the same height, wearing a red shirt and blue coat. David recalled that he was seen leaving. He saw a white Chevy Impala with paper plates. David's Honda Ridgeline, Kelsey German, Chase, and Bree Wilbur finished lunch downtown. Dave testified that he walked, took pictures. He told the jury, sorry, let me see if Shelby Hicks testified that she parked around 2:30 p.m. and a phone call from her dad helped mark the time. Did Shelby and Daniel arrive together separately at trial? Shelby said she parked in Muir's lot and there were other cars parked there as well, but she didn't remember any. Brad Weber's van is seen on surveillance approaching the private driveway. Dave McCain is seen at 2:44 p.m. He testified he didn't remember any cars parked at Muir's lot. Let's see the next one. According to the PCA, Terry Wilson sees a purple vehicle parked at the CPS building. According to Tina German's report, law enforcement reviewed Terry Wilson's tip narrative that said he was on his way to Delphi on the Hoosier Heartland Highway at approximately 2:10, and he observed that he described a purple PT Cruiser or small SUV type vehicle parked on the south side of the CPS building. Ron's cell phone was in the Delphi area of the Monon High Bridge Trail, 2:10. David Riley produced a receipt from USPS timestamped at 2:10 p.m. Advised that he stopped at a credit union. I think we got more stuff on Logan here. Give me 1 second. Betsy is seen on HHS video driving away from Muir's lot. Betsy saw an older model vehicle parked at the CPS building. And here's just more locations of a light sedan. Brad Heath sees the same older model vehicle he saw parked on the side of the road halfway between the CPS building and the entrance. He arrives at the Anderson Small Pack building to spray the inside. His first scan was at 1:43 p.m. His last scan was at 2:06. This is really just about the vehicles. Well, let me see if there's people. Brad Weber, there's his punch card, clocks out from work. Betsy reaches the trail split and continues towards FB. Brad Heath sees the same older model vehicle that he saw parked on the side of the road. I feel like I'm reading the same thing. Am I like losing my mind? Okay, hold on. Betsy sees an unknown male. She described him as 20s or 30s with brown, poofy hair, beautiful in his appearance, average height, not short, no facial hair. She described him as if he was looking for somebody because he was looking away, and then when he saw her approach, he turned and looked at her. They momentarily made eye contact, and she got the impression that he was waiting for somebody. After Betsy turned around to continue her walk, she saw two girls. They were just waiting and chatting quietly and didn't seem to really notice or pay attention. Betsy looked through yearbooks and had never seen a 20-year-old before. Bridge guy is at 1:57. Bridge guy is presumably still on platform 1. Brandon was familiar to both Abby and Libby. Sometime that afternoon, he had plans to meet Abby and Libby that day and canceled on Abby to play basketball with his friend Josh. Kelsey was still on the phone with him when Abby and Libby got out of the car. Kelsey watched the girls until they reached the trail. Kelsey German's vehicle was captured. Oh, wait, I think I read this. Westbound. This might be a duplicate. I'm sorry. While heading back toward FB, Anna Spath, Bree Wilbur Rayleigh, and Isabel Voorhees crossed paths with an unknown male walking towards Monon High Bridge. On February 15, 2017, Rayleigh gave a statement to Mullen saying the unknown male was in his 20s or 30s with a bigger build, Caucasian, brown eyes, square jaw, wrinkly face, wearing black jeans, black hoodie, a hat, boots, and a black mask. She said his hair was dirty blonde and his curly hair was visible. Rayleigh told law enforcement that she said hi and waved to the man, but the man just glared at her. She recalled telling her sisters that someone was in a grumpy mood. She went on to describe him as not very tall, with a bigger build. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". Um, yep, exactly. None of these witnesses described Rick at all. Okay, I'm trying to think. I thought I had more stuff on Logan, actually. Yeah, this is more just Richard Allen parks by old SR-25, crosses FB, and passes three girls leaving the trail. He said one was tall and had dark hair at 12 p.m. Betsy, okay, wait, we saw that one. Wait, I thought I had one more on Ron. I guess that's it. I'm sorry, guys. I had one other clip of someone saying they saw an older man on the bridge. For some reason, I can't find it. Oh, really? That's really interesting. Keegan Klein's grandpa owned a purple cruiser at the time. Yeah, this is just crazy. Oh, man, that's crazy. Yeah, none of these witnesses described Rick. Oh, don't worry, Reby, no problem. Ted is slowing down a little bit. All right, well, we're going to have some special guests on. If anybody can get that mic on, that would be great too. Um, oh, yeah, if you could drop the membership link. I don't even know how to drop the membership link. Let me see. Sorry, 1 second, everyone. Oops, no. Let me see if I can find it. I don't even know how to. You were live. Yeah, sorry, I don't know how to do the membership link. I know how to share a StreamYard link. That's pretty funny. Okay, everyone, will you have a really nice Friday? Sorry, I'm running a little bit out of gas. I'm tired. We have Bob Mata coming on, and then we have another special guest next week, and I'm sure they're going to do a really good job, and you can ask them a lot of questions and go live with them. And it was really nice seeing everybody. It was nice seeing everybody in the chat, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful Saturday. And hang out with people you love and friends. So you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys later. Nighty night.